Recently, we made a video about 5 things that the United States could learn about Denmark that we've learned while living here as Americans in Denmark, and we decided we wanted to flip things around and talk about the other way. So we're going to do a video today on 5 things that Denmark could improve on from the United States, because we know both countries pretty well.
Yeah, the first one is the classic American entrepreneurial spirit. Now, this is not to say that there aren't entrepreneurs or people that want to drive new businesses in Denmark, but there's definitely a deeper sense of this in the States than you find in Denmark. And I get it, like this is an easy place to live, a nice place to live. You can live a very nice life, and maybe the pressures aren't there in the same way to drive and innovate and create in a different way. But even on a micro level, you don't have to be an Elon Musk to be able to have that spirit and that drive. Certainly that culture of innovation, entrepreneurship, even at the normal level like us, is going to be something that can be encouraged, and maybe being a little bit more startup and business friendly here in Denmark as it is in the US.
I'll also add that Elon Musk is not American. We don't claim him. But again, though, you can have an environment that is more startup and business friendly, and Denmark has a pretty good start on that.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't take much to just sort of throw in a little bit of that spirit of entrepreneurship and take things to another level. So that's one. A second is sort of the customer service aspect. Now, I know that this could be controversial to some, but there is a real big emphasis on customer service and satisfaction in the US that is sometimes lacking here. I know a lot of the Danes that will defend the status quo in Denmark as far as customer service will say, that's because we don't want tips, but you can still smile and be nice to people. I think that that's something that the US does very well, and there's a lot of jobs in the US that are done where you're not tipping people, but you can still be a little friendly, whether they're calling you on the phone or taking your order somewhere. People don't expect a tip. That's not why they do it. You can still get paid a very good wage and be friendly and smile and be nice.
Not every interaction has to be transactional, even if it ends in a transaction at the end of it. We're just asking for maybe a little bit more of that smile and niceness and interaction, whether you're dealing with somebody on the phone or in a store or anything like that. Just a little bit more of that understanding and customer service would be appreciated.
Yeah, no tea, no shade. Just,
Up the game.
up the game a little bit.
Another thing that Denmark can learn from the U.S. is around diversity and inclusion. Now, obviously the U.S. is a country made up of people that come from almost everywhere around the globe, and that's starting to happen here in Denmark as well. And I think this is definitely something where Denmark can learn from the U.S. on various ways of embracing diversity and multiculturalism. Even though you may see on the news certain of the negative sides of that in the U.S. politics and society, I think having lived in both places, there's definitely something that Denmark can learn from the U.S. on this, again, at the micro level, embracing people that come from different places or being interested in that way and not feeling threatened by the fact that people coming to Denmark from other places may want to be able to still engage in some of the fun cultures and things from their homeland that they come from.
Yeah, I think this is something that sometimes confuses people about Americans, especially when they even say visit Denmark or really anywhere in Europe. We ask a lot of questions. We're curious, right? And it's not because we're ignorant or we don't know, but we want to hear what your language sounds like. We want to know more about your history. And that's because we're sort of encouraged to do this from school age all the way through our professional lives, to understand these people around us who are different. And they're encouraged to share their cultural experiences and exchange that with us too. It's something really nice, and again, Denmark has a start in this direction, and it's something that I think can only make Denmark stronger to sort of embrace the other people that come here, and sort of just improve on that integration, because I firmly believe that integration is a two-way street. And as much as I love embracing Danish culture and learning more about Denmark, I think it's really great when that can be a two-way street and we can celebrate people that are living among us or working among us that come from all types of backgrounds. Speaking of work, another one that can really be an area for Denmark to improve from something that's very common in the US is around technology and innovation. Denmark does this pretty well in some ways. It's very digital, for example. There's a lot of apps and things like that. However, it's partially, I think, because of that American spirit, that entrepreneurial thinking, and also regulatory aspects that encourage investment and development in tech innovation. The US is really a tech leader. Now, that doesn't mean that we need to turn Aarhus into the new Silicon Valley, but I do think that there's an opportunity to encourage more support for startups in the tech industry and kind of encourage a little bit of that innovation that we see very popular in the US into other areas of Denmark's economy that is already there, but could go to the next level.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this is thinking about it from almost a societal level, driving in this direction as well. Thinking of this as a place that can be a world leader. You already see it in certain industries, like in clean energy, like in some pharmaceutical areas and other areas of innovation, to keep driving that forward. I think what's fantastic is you can build on a great society, a great structure, a great education system, and keep going to the next level. So often we hear Denmark talked about as, oh, we're a little country, we're a little country. We do fantastic things here in Denmark. Let's be unafraid to keep driving that forward and being unafraid to share that with the world.
Embrace it, invest in it. I think it's great. Like our nephews are learning coding in school. I mean, that's something that I think happens here, but really could be invested in and expanded in.
Another area that Denmark can learn from the U.S. is around socializing. We get made fun of a lot coming from the U.S. saying, oh, it's all small talk, it's all insincere connections that happen. But honestly, these things are nice too. I'm not saying that you have to talk to everybody you see on the street or sit next to on the bus.
Also, that doesn't happen in the U.S.
No, exactly.
Stop saying that happens.
But the thing is, like, it is nice that in the U.S. that you can pick up a conversation with somebody knowing you're going to talk to them for 5 or 10 minutes, and that's okay. Or being able to have a more informal friendship where maybe you only see each other at the bar or some social place that's out there. It's okay to do it that way. Being able to embrace these kind of more informal conversations is something that definitely Denmark can learn from the U.S.
Yeah, and I think it's, again, like a lot of these things, it's building on something that's already there. Danes can be super outgoing in the right environment, but they almost avoid standing out or become a little bit introverted in others. I've been traveling and met Danes in Rome, because it's very easy to hear people speaking Danish, and then we can just come up and drop a little bit of Danish, and they're like, oh, and then we start a whole conversation. I know that Danes on holiday certainly like being a lot more extroverted than I typically see, and I think that's something that could happen all the time in life, and not just say at a bar or Euler Focus or a drinking function. It could be something that maybe is just a little bit of that extroversion that Americans tend to have.
That's true.
Could be picked up and run with, because I think it opens a lot of other avenues.
Now, of course, we definitely have seen Danes do this. Danes can be very good at small talk and informal conversations, just after 3 or 4 beers. So maybe we're just saying bring it a little bit earlier in the conversation.
Yeah, or drink more. Drink earlier in the day.
Also a possibility. Day drinking is never wrong.
Yeah, but okay, again, none of this is negative. It's just things that are different and things that we really love about both countries that we would love to see adopted in each. Now, if you didn't see the first video that we mentioned, the one where we talk about the things the US could learn from Denmark, I know you'll want to see the other side of it too. So you'll have to click here to watch that next. But thanks for listening and watching, and let us know what you think below in the comments.
Hi.